Now that one I'm curious about your answer because I'm a counseling psychologist.
He did not tell me that. I thought you were just a normal person.
Psychologists are not normal people.
No, psychologists are trained to dig into the mind.
I promise you I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Should a person struggling with sex, so
Would you rather see a Christian? No.
So it's like he's having casual sex, engaging in that. Would you rather see a physical therapist or a Christian therapist?
A normal therapist who's not necessarily doing Christian counseling.
So the first thing is there's... Why not both? Why not you pick? Because I don't see the difference between this psychologist and this Christian person. Because this Christian person is also going to tell you the truth. You need to get over your addiction. You're an adult. And this therapist is also going to tell you the same thing, that you're entering a dangerous lifestyle that's going to get you sick. So they're both going to tell you that in your face, because they want to help you get your life together. But at the same time, this Christian person is just gonna bring in a spiritual element of like prayer into this. So I would say whoever's available, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whoever's available. There's no difference to it. Because at the end of the day, it's you who has to act on the advice you've been given.
Yeah.
And the main advice here, okay, praying for you, that's nice. But the main advice they're both gonna give you is straight and direct. You have a problem, here's how you fix it, and you need to act on it to change. So yeah, whoever's available, whoever's cheaper. I'm not the Christian
You'll go for price.
charge. You guys charge higher prices because you go out your way to pray for them.
I like that. Actually, it's interesting that you bring that up because many Christian counseling settings are actually in church or in a church setting and are a lot of the time cheaper.
Yeah.
Than what they're calling normal counseling. In my opinion, when such a question is asked, it's because, and I'll assume, I want to make a bit of an assumption here, is that there has been a distinct difference between a Christian counselor and a regular counselor. The Christian counselor, theoretically, should actually be directing you to the fact that there's a higher power that can help you solve your addiction problem. Whereas a regular therapist would basically not necessarily put God as that higher power, but try and, work with your mind in a way that you can get yourself to that place by changing your thoughts and your behavior. Right?
Yeah.
So normal therapy, we look at things like CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, where the person actually says, what are you thinking about this? What do you benefit from this? Can we change your behavior? What are some of the alternative things that we can look at? That's what normal therapy would entail, amongst other things. Whereas the Christian one will also add the aspect of, can you then go pray about it? Right? Biggest problem is, from where I stand, is that if the any addiction, I know we're talking about sex, but any addiction comes from a place of pain, right? So I'm trying to imagine if you're a Christian, you have a sex addiction going on, you grew up as a Christian, maybe Christianity has actually caused part of that problem, right? Faulty religion and faulty lessons. So somewhere along the way, sex becomes something for comfort, and then it becomes something that you just have to keep at, and you're finally hooked at it. At that point, I'm not 100% sure that a Christian therapist would be the best.
Because you think you'll push him towards it?
No, because the client will come with pain caused by Christianity. Right? So there could be some rejection of what the Christian therapist has to say. Now, the only time it will work is when the Christian therapist is a professional and is not just imposing and hitting this person with the Bible. Because you can imagine being a client, you've come, you have that sex addiction going, and then the first thing you're being told is you're a sinner. You know that already, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
That would be unprofessional for the Christian therapist, right? And I know that question is something that very many people struggle with because we have Christian therapists who have hurt clients and we have regular therapists who have basically not helped clients. They have become the Messiah themselves. So there's a balance that needs to be struck somewhere over there.
So both.
Either is okay, depending on where your pain came from.
Depending where your pain came from?
Yes, the pain that caused the sex addiction.
Okay, so I would lean more to the professional side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so whoever's more available, that's where
And cheaper.
there's a neutral stand and cheaper. But I'll lean more to the professional side because you mentioned that there's some Christian therapists who will just they won't see you as a human. They're just trying to preach it onto you and all that, and not giving you practical help. But there's an element of if there were therapists in this church and I came to them with all this, like to this person, they'd be like surprised. They'd be like, "You are going through all this and all that."
Yeah.
So some people are not very good at shutting up about other people's problems.
Yeah.
So if let's just say if you had a daughter or a son who was going through that, I think I would push towards the professional side because the Christian church, it's a community, yeah, and when you come there, you bring yourself a vulnerability. But then when they see you again, some of them, they see you differently, if you know what I mean. So you come to them, okay, so let's just say they've known you as like a good person, you're always here on time and all that. Then on a Saturday, you tell them what's really going on. From a Sunday to the next week, they'll see you. They won't see you as a human. Okay, they'll see you as a human, but they wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's now like, okay, I know this information. Now, even the way they talk to you is different.
Yeah.
Even the way they engage to you is different. For the therapist, she understands her job and why she's being paid is to help people. Now, this information, she doesn't need to record it for her life. It's just like, yes, we're going through one year, going through the other year.
Yeah.
But to the Christian one, it's like, because this person, I'm assuming, is coming for help. And he's also like a long-time member. It's gonna cause some friction, you know. And in one instance, it could like if they were in a group meeting or something like that, it could slip out unintentionally to someone else, you know, as a prayer item. Could you pray for sexual morality? And they don't say names, but the person's like, why is that on there? So I feel like I would heavily push towards professional. So of course, there's whoever's available, but if I had a daughter or son, I'd push towards the professional one because I don't want my daughter and my son to be seen differently.
Exactly.
Because, okay, we're all humans. We all have issues. None of us are perfect. But I don't want them to be seen differently.
That center of...
Yeah, because we can read the room and change. She's talking to me differently, you know. So, yeah.
I think you brought up something very, very important when it comes to therapy. Ideally, do not go to somebody who knows you. In therapy, there is something called dual relationships. You actually should not be seeing a therapist who is in the same like family, a church community, because you see that's too close. Try and see, I'd rather you go and see somebody in a different church if you're looking for a Christian counselor.
Of the same organization? Of the same organization?
No, not the same organization. Like, let's say, so this is for Mavuno, right?
Yes.
Go to Sitam. Go to Nairobi Chapel. Go to a different church, not the one that you're worshiping at. Just for the sake of confidentiality. And you can imagine, I mean, some of the things that people will come up with in therapy will be shockers, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about youth who are together. So they'll be having sex with each other. So you can imagine the Christian therapist who's in that space cannot unsee that. It's not just about the person who came. It is when they said, I've been having sex with people who are in my youth group, they'll just be looking at the youth group, you know, suspiciously. They're going to look at them differently. So that would be the wrong person to see. So I'm not saying don't see a Christian therapist. Do not see a Christian therapist in your church. There are others elsewhere, right? Because of the dual relationship, and what you bring up is so valid. There's that fear of, now that I've said what I'm going through, I can't unsay it and she can't unhear it, or he can't unhear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a balance. It's not just about money. Yeah.
It's not about money.
It's sad that Christian is being considered the opposite of professional.
No, it's not considered opposite professional.
It is actually not by you, but many people actually do not consider a Christian counselor a professional counselor because of pain that has been caused both ways.
So we're now heavily towards the professional side.
Yeah.
So when you say professional side, like
they're more
therapists of the world. Like,
they're more humanistic.
Like therapists, Christian
they're more
therapists.
humanistic than faith based. or faith-led.
Do Christian therapists study the same books as
Yes, they do.
therapists?
Yes, they do.
So our conclusion is that the Christian therapist, the only difference in him and the other person is
Faith.
they pray.
Yeah.
Another one doesn't.
They may actually pray even during the sessions. The other one doesn't pray during the sessions unless the client has asked for it. And the other one, even if they're a Christian, they will not be the one to say the prayer. If the client says, I'd like to pray, the client is the one who will pray. With Christian counseling, the Christian counselor can pray, will use the Bible, will direct the client towards, God and their own faith. Yeah.
What about if the therapist you walk into the office and you can sense that this person is a Buddhist? Should Christians seek help from a therapist that's from a different religion?
Yes, they can.
They can.
Yes.
And why are you not disagreeing with this?
Was I supposed to disagree?
No, I'm just like there's an atheist, a Satanist, a Mormon.
Back again to why are they seeking therapy? Psychological treatment is psychological treatment. It is not Christian, it is not Buddhist, it is not atheist, it is psychological treatment. Our brains are not Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're going through a mental health issue, a mental health professional can help you regardless of what they believe. When they're professional, they won't impose their beliefs on you. Meaning, if they're Buddhist, they're not going to necessarily push you towards Buddhism. That's not professional. If they're atheist, they're not going to direct you that way. That's not professional. If they're Christian, they're not. That's why a Muslim can come to a Christian therapist. Yeah.
All right.
So professionalism is about not imposing your beliefs on your clients.
Person.
Your job as a counselor is to actually help.
Just to help.
Yeah.
So stance is seek professional. That works as well. But for Christian outside the country, another church, another organization.
Yes. Don't go for dual relationships. Yeah. It's good for you.